start with Secretary Josh Kurtz, our Maryland Department of Natural Resources Secretary. Josh has been in the job about 9 months in the Westmore administration, but he's not new to the field. He has a long history in NGOs. He was at the Nature Conservancy, before this in the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, our largest local NGO as well. So Josh, we'd like to hear from you.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'll try that again. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Let's make sure we're all awake here. It's really fantastic to be here. I'm super pumped. I'm excited to be here too with my colleagues. When I took this job, as Bill mentioned, I've been working in the space of restoration and science for a long time. I actually started as a field researcher, and when I get in rooms like this, I get really excited because what we didn't do well when I was doing field research was connect. Right? I did field research on swamp sparrows, and we were just looking at their nest success, but what we weren't talking about was the impacts that climate was having on that. We weren't talking about what those impacts were then having on the communities behind the wetlands where those sparrows lived. So collaboratories like this are going to be critical for us to be able to answer those really tough questions and build those really, really robust solutions that we know we need. The Moore Miller administration is data-driven, and I think that we show that by showing up, Secretary Addix, Secretary McElwain, and many of our staff being here today. And at DNR, really science is our North Star. We're using this information to drive our management decisions from a wide range of things: forest management in Western Maryland, fishery science on the coast, and everything in the middle. We do geohydromorphology. That's for Rich. A lot of different things that are just really impactful and important for our decision making. And really that's why I'm excited to be here today, and I'm just really thrilled to be a part of this kickoff. We're blessed, frankly, in this area for this world-class innovative research science community, and the fact that we have UMCES pulling people together. You know, we think about being innovative in the state of Maryland. I know California and in Maryland, I feel like it's a race to be innovative, right? That's a good thing. And so bringing us together to learn from each other is really important. I also just want to take a moment to thank Bill and Don and Peter. I should have called you all doctors because you are. But the innovation that has been driven by your leadership and frankly the push that you have made not only to your staff but to agencies is the reason that we're here today, and I think is really the root for why this collaboratory is going to be successful. We're grappling with major issues. And we had a meeting earlier this week where we were talking about how our striped bass juvenile index is bottom of the barrel, the lowest it's been for 6 years in a row. Why is that? Well, we're also looking at where zooplankton are in the bay. Those things don't overlap anymore, right? That's a major system change that we're seeing. We're going to need significant interventions and a really innovative approach to solve that problem. So we're really excited for this to really help us drive ourselves into that space. I also think it's important when we, as kind of policymakers, think about how we're building that feedback loop of science, right? When we do policies, we put programs in place, we then need to have a science feedback loop that allows us to learn what's not working and help us just continuously improve on that. I think what we're seeing, and as Bill touched on, we need to accelerate. We know that. We know that our policies aren't meeting the need for our people in terms of clean water and also in terms of resilience. I was in Crisfield yesterday for the Taws Crab Feast, and it was really stark how much flooding is going on in Crisfield days after the storm. This is a community, you know, we're at the marina, an environmental justice community right behind it, and there are wetlands growing on the edges of their streets, right? You couldn't pass through. You know, we're talking about electric vehicles. You're not going to drive a battery-powered EV through 4 feet of water, right? So significant challenges that we need to work on. I think it's also important, too, the communication piece that this provides for us. We're seeing a real anti-science sentiment across the country. And having that be called out specifically by this collaboratory is important. We need our scientists to be able to communicate very, very challenging technical issues in a way that, like, my grandma understands, right? The way that politicians understand, so not quite the level of my grandma. We also really need to think about bringing people along, right? And sorry, not, except for my boss, just for the record, if anybody's doing this. we need to bring people along, and a major focus of our administration is ensuring that the solutions we're putting in place are working for everyone, for all Marylanders. And I'm thrilled to be here. As a scientist, we are an administration that believes in science, and we're an administration that is really looking to build a better future with all of you that's based on that. So again, thank you so much for having me today. Really excited for the day, and excited to see all the solutions that come out of it. Thank you.